move to the NFC North, where all eyes are going to be on Caleb Williams this season after he was drafted first overall by the Bears. Now, Caleb has progressed well through minicamp and was quickly named the Week 1 starter by head coach Matt Eberflus. And tight end Cole Kmet spoke to the growth that he's seen in the rookie so far this offseason.
That whole draft process was so interesting just because you're hearing all these different things about him. But as I got to know him and as everyone else got to know him, you realize he's really just a normal dude, a really good kid and ultra competitive. And you can see why he's been so successful thus far in his football career and why he has those type of intangibles to succeed in the NFL. So I'm really excited for him. He's been putting in a lot of work, and you could see the progress that he was making throughout the OTA period.
It just makes me wonder, does anyone think that it was going to be perfect for Caleb Williams right out of the gates? Because there's a lot of stories written about him in the first mini camp, OTAs, that he was struggling. He was a little behind on his throws. But, I mean, he is learning a completely new system. Making the transition from college to the NFL is going to be tough no matter who you are. But you also want them to struggle in practice. This is what you want to hear, because if they're not struggling in practice, that means they're going to be struggling in the games in the NFL. Like, that's not something you want to do. So, I mean, he knows what pressure is like. He's had pressure on him since winning the Heisman 2 years ago, and then all of last year struggling at USC, knowing he was going to be the first overall pick. All the eyes are going to be on Caleb Williams, not only because of that, but also because the Bears have never had that guy. They've never had a quarterback throw over 4,000 yards in a season, throw more than 30 touchdowns in a season. Like, Caleb Williams can very quickly be that guy in Chicago.
I was trying to think, who's the best quarterback they've had in like the last 30 years? Like Jim McMahon, Rex Grossman, Jake
Rex
Cutler?
is who they got to the Super Bowl with.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, that's the thing. They've never had that guy at quarterback.
So it's
They've
weird.
been a defensive team.
Like,
they've prided themselves off that.
The expectations are super high, but the bar, is super low. Right. So Williams should be able to clear it. And the schedule early is favorable.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like top 5 defenses that he's facing out of the gate.
He also got lucky that he was the #1 overall pick and not going to the worst team in the league. Like, the Bears got this pick by trading for this pick the season before. So Caleb is in a great situation to succeed.
Yeah. That Titans team is going to look different defensively. I know they got Snead, but they're not world beaters. I think at home Chicago wins that. At Houston will be a bit of a challenge.
That'll be tough.
That'll be tough. But listen, let's not act like Houston is world beaters just because they had a really good season. All right? Their defense was torched at times. I know they did a lot in free agency. Colts defense, nothing special. Rams, no Aaron Donald breathing down your neck. Panthers were a bottom 10 defense last year. I know they got some dudes.
Yeah.
And then the Jags. So, like, he starts out facing not very difficult defenses. Later in the season, Niners.
He doesn't really face the division until the back half of the season. And he should be sitting pretty with, like, an ease into the NFL season going into their bye.
Yeah.
In week 7.
I think they're a wild card team.
Yeah.
With Caleb. Yeah.
Definitely. All right, let's move to Philly because the Eagles started their offseason strong, but despite going 10-1, they dropped 6 of their last 7 games, leading to some questions. Jalen Hurts' steady and more reserved leadership style. Now, however, Lane Johnson has seen a louder and more vocal Hurts this offseason.
I think just this offseason, he's really done a good job of bonding with his teammates. I felt like the connection has definitely grown. A really big offseason. The work ethic has never been an issue. Tremendous worker, but just becoming a more vocal leader. And, I think whenever he speaks, guys listen up. And every year's a kind of a prove it deal to everybody when you're in that town. And, we all feel it to some degree, but Jalen's our guy moving forward. We love him. We respect him. And, nobody puts in more work than he does.
No, I don't think anyone was questioning Jalen Hurts' leadership, but it's good to hear that he's being more vocal because they lost their anchor on the offensive line in Jason Kelce. He was the heart and soul of that team. So now hearing that Jalen Hurts is being a little more vocal in that sense is always going to be a positive. And obviously he's coming off of 2 really tough ends to the season. Last year, they had one of the best starts going 10-1, then dropping 6 of their last 7. Then obviously the year before, losing in the Super Bowl to the Chiefs and Mahomes. So they haven't had that really strong finish. And again, it's not how you start, it's how you finish in a season, right? That's what matters. That's what people are going to remember. And another thing to know is, you remember there was some drama with A.J. Brown last season?
Yeah.
we didn't hear a lot about it, meaning that they handled it in a way that a responsible leader should. And then they rewarded him this offseason. So it should, you hope, they figure it out and get it together in Philly.
Yeah. Something feels weird about this. Has become a more vocal leader. Was he not a vocal leader when he was like the MVP favorite 2 years ago? Was he not a vocal leader?
I mean, some leaders like lead by example. But again, like...
Was it the center, Kelsey, who's now retired?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jason Kelsey was like the vocal heart and soul of that offensive line, and I'm sure of the offense.
I mean, it just feels a little bit odd that he's saying this about Hurts. It's almost like everybody's down on Hurts for some reason. I don't get it. He's not the reason they sucked last year.
But like he's always had that doubt.
Their head coach
he's always had that doubt.
The defensive coordinator situation and promoting the rocket scientist, I've forgotten his name, but Matt Patricia. He was like running the defense midseason. That guy's a clown. I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. Probably in New England. But it just feels weird vibes about Philly right now because I like Hurts a lot.
Yeah.
And remember, Colin, I think after the Super Bowl, it was one of those like, I don't take a call if you call about Hurts. And now he's like not even on his top 5 list. Guess what, folks? We're doing top 5 quarterbacks. I don't know if Hurts has made the cut. We're doing that later.
All right, well, let's move to the NBA, where the Nuggets were not able to complete their title defense, falling to the T-Wolves in the Western Conference semifinals. But good news for Denver, with Shams reporting that Jamal Murray and the Nuggets are negotiating a 4-year extension worth up to $209 million. Now, J-Mac, this needed to happen. NBA duo-wise, Jokic and Murray are one of the best. He's a big reason that the Nuggets won that title a year ago. And this year, he set career records in points per game, assists per game, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage. Like this, I think this isn't a surprise. Like this was expected.
Awesome player.
Yeah.
Still never been an All-Star.
Which is so crazy to me.
Stupid.
How is that possible? Like, feels like one of the more underrated players in the league.
Yeah.
Never
we may
been
have
an
to
all-star.
just like stop. All-Star doesn't matter. It's like a popularity contest.
It is.
He's clearly one of the best players at his position. He's making $50 million a year and he's never been an All-Star.
That's crazy.
The interesting thing, and I touched on it earlier, is this whole losing KCP, who's in their starting backcourt. That's a big loss, especially if he goes to Lakers. He's going to have a market.
Any insider info? It's the second time you've dropped that.
I do not have any insight. I'm just hopeful for I want them to be interesting.
Same.
But yeah, Jamal Murray also he's going to be playing for Team Canada this summer.
Yeah.
In the Olympics, supposedly. I'm just telling you, Olympics, NBA, men's basketball is going to be fire.
It's going to be fun. I mean, isn't USA? They're all meeting up in Vegas next week.
They are.
Yeah.
I'm not. Are you going to Vegas next week for that or no?
No, I'm in Vegas. I leave right after the show.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's what I said. I'm going to Vegas this weekend, betting on the Lakers.
What's the?
It's the NHL draft out there yesterday and today. So I used to work. I was Kings reporter when they won the Stanley Cup.
Right. Yeah,
I have a lot of NHL.
So it's
friends,
just like a party time.
Yeah, going out there for a good time.
The pool scene's going off in late June.
It should be. It's going to be hot, 105.
Need to get back there.
Let's go.
Alex Curry with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
All right, coming up next, we got a fun guest stopping by, Aaron Torres. Talk about the draft, my LeBron theory. He's a big college hoops honk. The sport's taken a bit of a hit this week with the draft. A lot of people are like, who are these dudes getting drafted? We'll talk about